It is time to perform a scale audit on all the diagnostics corresponding with one particular rule. We're going to go into the Jasper audit interface, and we're going to figure out a rule to use. Here's all the rules available. Which rule shall we go with? Let's use this rule EXP34-C. It is priority 18, the highest priority, and there are 735 diagnostics. That's a lot of diagnostics. So I'm going to look for that rule and filter based on the rule. And as you see, there are indeed 735 diagnostics. EXP34-C is a rule that simply says do not dereference null pointers. You can bring up the rule and study the rule for how to detect this. Back to the diagnostics, we're going to look for a single true diagnostic and mark it as true and the rest as suspicious if we can find any. Let's just start with the first one here. This rule is from PCLint. It says possible use of null pointers new image in left argument to the struct dereference operator. In fact, this line has two struct dereference operators here and here. And we're clearly talking about this one because of the new image variable. Now, PCLint also provides some extra information because you can see that the ID is highlighted. And this extra information actually isn't that much. There are just two references to other locations in the code with no message text to accompany it. However, let's go ahead and click on these locations. The location we're at is line 218. If we look at line 213, we're 5 lines ahead in the code, and we see that new image is actually being assigned to the result of this function, JASImageCreate0. If we go to line 191, we see a return 0, which might not look informative, but scroll up a little bit, and you see that this is actually the return result of JASImageCreate0, the same function. In other words, PCLint has discovered that JASImageCreate can return 0, or null, or it can return a valid non-null pointer, and apparently does this if the JASMalloc function fails. In other words, what we have discovered, I'll go back to the bottom here and close this. What we have discovered is that the new image variable is assigned the result of JImageCreate0, and that could be null. And between the assignation of new image and the dereference here, there is no null check. Therefore, this diagnostic is true. So I will mark it as true. So here's a related question. PCLint discovered this diagnostic. Did any other tools discover it? To answer that question, we're going to sort all our diagnostics by line number. Now the line number in question is line 218, and so we're a few lines short. If we go down to the bottom, we see that it doesn't quite reach 218 in the first 10, so we're going to go to the second 10. And there it is, line 218, which we just marked as true, and this second diagnostic, also line 218, and it simply says the function JASImageCopy and JASImageSeek can crash the program by dereferencing a null pointer in line 218. The message is not very informative, but we can see that Fortify did indeed produce a diagnostic about the same problem. We will mark this one as true as well. And we'll note that no other tool caught this problem. This problem was only caught by PCLint and by Fortify. Now that we've found at least one true diagnostic in these 735 null pointer dereference issues, we can mark the remaining 733 as suspicious. But that's no simple task. How do we do that? The answer is, first of all, we're going to filter out our true diagnostics by only showing unknowns. And now we're going to show, instead of 10 diagnostics per page, we're going to raise this to 500. Go. And this will take a little while, but once we have the 500 diagnostics, we're going to mark them all as suspicious, converting all the unknowns to suspicious. So now we have only unknown diagnostics, still filtering on null pointers. Mark this as suspicious. And we update. And this will reduce the number from 733 to 233. And we mark these as suspicious as well. And when the system is done with these, it will discover no diagnostics. What's going on? Simple. There are no more unknown diagnostics that violate rule exp34-c. So let's take off our filter, and we're going to reduce the number to 25 this time. And we're still sorting by line, but you will notice now that, again, sorting by line, all the diagnostics are now suspicious, except for these two true diagnostics that we had set for in line 218. Now, for the most egregious vulnerabilities, we like to write up a little blurb describing what exactly happened here. This blurb is useful for the client to see that their code really does have this problem, and we report on the most egregious things that demand their attention. So I've brought up a simple blurb in Emacs here, and as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. It has samples from the code. This is the function with the critical line 218, as well as it being assigned, and a bit of background as to why it's a problem, because JASImage create 0 can return a null pointer. Finally, we include this violate CERT rule exp34, and we provide some information on the solution. And that is how we audit null pointer dereferences.